Good morning. Welcome to day 2 of Let's Get Visible. Yes, today I'm going to be talking about not writing dear first name. Let me go into a bit more detail. And also, just to recap, if you haven't seen yesterday's video, which was all about losing your template rather than just kind of feeling like you have to do what everybody else does in this marketing space, that's going to be really useful in terms of moving forward with that. But also, I did another video about this guy, Dave. Good morning. Who basically has this automated marketing system which feels really intrusive and weird. Good morning. And Dave is on my case because I signed up for his webinar and I keep getting all these emails and it's really irritating. So anyway, you can find the whole story there. It's over in my video. But today I want to talk about the importance of not doing that dear first name general kind of email marketing type situation. Because I know we're all looking for a formula. I know we're all looking for a step-by-step plan. I know we're craving it in times of wanting to get from A to B really quickly. But here's what I'm going to say. If you can strip it back and you can go in rather than out and look at how you do the rest of your life, it's really going to help you in terms of your business. So I'm coming from a place that I trained as an actor. So I've got a BA acting degree and I'm a qualified coach and all of these sorts of things. But I have had to learn on the ground in terms of how I monetize this and how I monetize my personal brand. And I'm here to say, first and foremost, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. I've tried and tested things. I've experimented. I've worked on something, like I built a whole course about 3 years ago. Never released it. Never did anything with it. Took me hours to do this thing, but it just didn't feel right. And yes, of course, some people be like, I think you're procrastinating, Nikki. I think the fear got in your way. Maybe it did, but do you know what? I've been able to use those sorts of things in other kinds of different ways. But have you received, I guess, those messages where somebody's coded the email marketing and you get this dear first name because they've accidentally forgot to put your name in there? And I don't know about you, and maybe I'm being oversensitive in this. Maybe I should be like, yes, but Nikki, it's not personalized. You know it's going to everybody on their newsletter. But selfishly, I want to feel like that person's talking to me. I want to feel like they've made this content especially for me. I know it sounds very indulgent. And ultimately, that's the thing. We all want to feel like we've been heard. We all want to feel like we're in the groove of doing things and all of that good stuff. So I want to turn things around and to give you some practical things which might be a really good use of your time in terms of your marketing. So I promote on here. I promote a little bit on Pinterest. I don't do Twitter because I don't really understand it. I can't make it work for my business. Again, limiting belief, but there we go. A lot of things come from Facebook groups or recommendations. My podcast is a huge marketing tool. Not that I necessarily have that as my intention of like, right, I'm gonna go global. I'm gonna do all of the things. But it's a fantastic way of building that connection, and I'll go into a bit more of why that is. But what I'm looking for ultimately when I'm thinking about marketing is, how can I do something once and make it work for me again and again? But also, how can I use it so I actually own it and I can control it? Which sounds very dictatorial, doesn't it? But I don't know how things work on the internet in terms of socials, or if things change or something goes down. And I've really realized that with email marketing, with building a list, building a relationship with people, and it's not a huge list, but size doesn't matter. It's about that connection. The people who are on there, I really hope they're on there for a reason and want to get what they need from that kind of stuff. So also another thing that I've noticed by building up this community of like-minded people, of ideal clients, as it were, that when I send something out, so I do email my list regularly. When I send something out with an offer, no matter when I send it or how often I send it, whenever it goes, somebody or many people will buy something directly from that. And that's probably because I'm quite blatant about it. So I give a lot of free content. I'm always talking about stuff that will be helpful, and I really dedicate a lot of time to doing that. But also I'm a business as well. So I am saying, like, if you want further support, you can go here, and I'm offering the whole time, which I kind of think is fair enough because, you know, we've all got bills to pay and all the rest of it. But also there's something about investing in yourself. There's something about actually going for it and doing it. And you wouldn't go and I don't know, have a taster menu or, you know, try something in a restaurant and then not pay for it if you have the whole meal. So there we go. So firstly, I want to question, are you connecting with people regularly? And when I say connecting with people regularly, doing stuff that actually leads back to your business and what you do. Because sometimes we can all think that we're showing up and we're being on Instagram a lot, or we're messaging people, or we're putting emojis as comments and things like that. But are you actually showing people? Are you actually participating? And participating is not just the kind of like, if I think about it as an actor, when I'm in an when I have an audience, so as an actor, it's really, it's a funny little game in terms of really assessing what the audience is doing, because sometimes it will do crazy things. So sometimes the audience, at like a Friday night audience, like they've had their glass of wine, they are all in, they're sitting there, they're like, come on, bring it, I'm ready for a good laugh, I'm doing that. A Tuesday night audience, they might be like, finally got the babysitter, kids are in bed, managed to get here, we're late, oh gosh, we've just had a row in the taxi, So as an actor, that's a very different experience. And that Friday night audience, you've really got to connect with them, and you've really got to see and time it and all the rest of it. But what I'm always craving, not from an ego place point of view, but I want to put something out there, as I hope you will as well, to share something that people are going to love, that they're going to be all in, that they're going to be there showing up and doing all of the things. So I want that Friday night audience. I want that if I put this stuff together, you know, this is if I was in a funny play, for example, I want them to laugh at the jokes. I want them to be engaged. I want them to be doing all that sort of stuff. And the reason that I'm saying this is I know some people build up to doing that perfect piece of content like once a month. Like, I'll do my once a month monthly newsletter, and I get it, like these things are time consuming to create sometimes. But what you do find sometimes is that's actually got to be outstanding. So people just go, oh wow, this is fantastic. I'm talking about email marketing and building an audience. So it's about really figuring out like how you can do something so spectacular. So when it drops once a month, people go, oh, it's here. It's the moment. Like, I remember when the Next Directory for used to drop through our door in the 90s, and it would come at the beginning of every like spring, summer, or autumn, winter. And I used to love that moment of like sitting down, looking at things, going through it, like picking stuff out. And I remember one year I redecorated my bedroom, and I was allowed to like choose my own wallpaper, and I had a little sofa bed in the side of the room, and like I loved all that process. But next, probably these days, email people a lot, and they do different forms of marketing. So I want you to question, are you waiting for that like spectacular drop, like here we go, here's the thing? Or is there a way that you can start to participate, contribute, be more visible on a regular basis in that way? So my partner noticed that like the other day. He was like, wow, when you send stuff out, people really seem to know you and they buy from you and all of that. And that has come from being consistent. Now, some people might be like, all right, Nikki, you email too much, or there's too many podcasts. That's absolutely fine, because sometimes people don't want that. They want to work in a way where they just do all their, I don't know, planning or scheduling or thinking about things once a week. That's great. But equally, I know that some people in my audience, they like that consistent sort of keeping things topped up, and I'm sort of like that as a person. What I'm looking for is being in that wavy line. So I don't like those big highs and those big lows. I don't want to go, oh my god, I've had the most amazing weekend, I feel so inspired, and then for the rest of the month I'm like, I feel terrible, there's nothing I can do, everything feels really hard. I like being in that wavy line of feeling good and being consistent in my business a lot of the time. So I want you to examine what's going on. How are you participating? What's going to be really useful? And the second thing I want you to think about is really understanding your own habits in terms of this. So the first thing I want you to do is to examine your own purchasing decisions. Now, if you've watched this, I would say if you're in business, if you're a personal brand, it may not be a paid situation, but there will be something that you've purchased. So whether that's the domain for your website and you chose to go to a particular provider, or you've bought a course, or you signed up to work with someone personally, or you chose a technology platform for your social media, whatever it might be, I want you to think about why you made that purchase. What was it about it that made you connect with it and made you go, right, I'm going to do it. This feels really compelling. This feels like a good connection. I'm going to do it. And I want you to analyze, morning, I want you to analyze what's going on for you. Because if you understand your own purchasing habits, then you can sort of let those filter into your own ways of doing business. So I am not keen as a person on fuss. Like when people, when it always happens in families or friends, and people go, I don't mind, what do you want to do? Well, what time should we go? Well, I'm not sure. What are you going to wear? I'm terrible in those small talk decisions, and I always want to go, right, what time are we going? Okay, great, I'll be there. It's fine. And I really like that in terms of my business choices. I want somebody to send me the invoice, send me the thing, let me sign up, off we go. So I really noticed that about my own purchasing decisions, and so that really helps me going forward. Morning, if you just join in. So start to examine your own purchasing decisions, because it may be that sometimes it's just too complicated. Somebody's not paying or signing up because there's too many options, or there's too many things, or the copy is overwhelming, or all of those sorts of things. So notice those things. The next thing I want you to think about is what makes you reply to the invitation. So when you're thinking about inviting people to work with you or to book your services or whatever it might be, notice how you know whether you want to reply to something in normal life. So but let me think. Okay, weddings. This will be perfect for some people on this call. Weddings. Have you got that invitation sometimes that you open and then all the stuff falls out? There's 9 pages in there. It's this, you can't do this, let us know when it is. There's 4 different venues, but if you're signing up for the hen do this, fill in the password for this. It feels so complicated. So when I think about my own purchasing decision and replying to the invitation, usually it's really simple. It's really a step forward. It's a framework. It's like, do this, do this, do this. And I've noticed when I've put together my own packages that usually if I'm taking somebody on one-to-one, absolutely. Sorry, I was just making sure I'm saying this right. So when I work with somebody one-on-one, I always have a conversation with them first. So you can't actually purchase on my website to work with me one-on-one, because that wouldn't feel right to me. Like, I want to know who this person is. I also want to make sure that I'm going to be the best person in this situation. I want to know that I can help somebody and that they're ready and it's aligned and all that sort of stuff before I push forward. So what's important is, for me, when I have conversations with people, I have to know how to sell something. So the fact that I keep it simple, because I like to be able to reply to an invitation in a very simple way, I have to be able to say, you get this, and you get this. So, for example, my strategy session, people get pre-work with me, they have 2 hours with me, and they have 2 weeks email support from me. So it's very, it's not like you do this and then you can log in here and this will come round. It's very sort of straightforward. So think about your own communication in that way, because this will be filtering across all of your brand. So when I'm talking about this, I'm not necessarily just talking about email marketing. I'm talking about how do you show up on Instagram, or how do you tell somebody, like, because I'm in the school system now, my son goes to school now, I know that business will come from the school gates. Like, I'm not going out there with a sandwich board and giving out leaflets. But I know friends of a friend, like there's a makeup artist that I know, her kid goes to the same school. Like it's one of those where in North London where I live, like it's very sort of, there's lots of media things and all the rest of it. But I know that I have to be able to say very clearly what I do. The next thing, what conversation, let me just get my tea, one sec. What conversation, what conversation are you open to? And I notice this in terms of sometimes the requests or the DMs that I have. So I know if I receive a copy and pasted, like, hi Nikki, I really like your content. I found your last post, I mean, I can rattle it off. I found your post really inspirational, and I've been like, and I'm interested to connect with you. It's the same stuff. And actually, when I think of connection isn't like, oh, we've turned a key and now we're connected. It's about building that connection, getting to know each other. And that is a slow burner quite often, where you start to reply and you become in other people's worlds. Then you may eventually meet further down the line. Connection isn't just like, let's connect, okay, we're done, now we're ready to do business. Like, that's not how I like to operate. So when I'm thinking about the conversation that I'm open to and that I want to have, it is based on not a script. It's based on a relationship, on listening, on serving, on having a few jokes, of replying to something or going, me too, oh my goodness, yes, this happened to me. So when I'm thinking about the conversations I want to be having with people, when I'm thinking about promoting my business, I want to show up in a really good way, not in a like, hi, I thought you might want this. You look like you're really struggling in this area. I've had that as well, where people go, yes. I mean, somebody actually pulled my, I don't like to speak about this a lot actually, because this is not my vibe on the internet, but somebody once went on my website and went through everything she didn't like about it, and then told me how she could help me. And it was the weirdest experience. And then she went on my Facebook profile, and then she started looking at pictures of my kids and making assumptions about where I, like, all this stuff. And it felt so invasive. So again, going back to conversations that I want to have, I want to take people as they are. I want to get to know them. I don't want to go, so this is what I assume about you, yeah? Just checking I'm right. It's not the one. So I always like to think of myself as like who I am. Oh, there's another wedding analogy here. Who I am at a wedding. So, as a lot of my business has come from being at weddings, just because sometimes you meet somebody and then somebody else recommends you, or you end up having a conversation, and usually, you know, there's a bit of wine and all the rest of it, but it's quite an interesting sort of turning point. Like, I usually feel like when you go to a wedding, people are quite open, like, great, let's have a chat, we're all here for life. Like, people don't turn up in that sort of arms folded way. So now I've realised that sometimes that happens. I I've really realized that actually that has nothing to do with the business that I have. It has nothing to do with the technology I have. The fact that at a wedding, if you have an elderly grandparent who needs a bit of support to get up some steps, or you need me to sit with that person whilst you go and do your thing, and they want somebody to talk to, I will be that person at that wedding. Or if you want, like, I'll always have some random colouring pencils in my handbag or something. So if you've got an unruly toddler, and not unruly, but a toddler who's not playing ball at a wedding, and you need to go to the toilet, like, I will entertain them. I will do that sort of stuff. Also, if like I've been to weddings where I've had friends where, actually pulling together different parts of the family, the blended family has been quite complicated. If you want to give me the eye of like, can you just stay there with them a minute? Yep, that's fine. I'll do that as well. That's who I am as a person. So this is what I'm thinking about when I'm working in my business as well. I want to, of course, have boundaries and rules and regulations and terms and conditions and all that professional stuff. But also, I'm not drinking the tea. No, I can't stop talking. So it's about... I'm really thinking about how I want to be. So I had a client a little while ago. She was like, I really need to take my kid to the doctors today. Can we switch our session? Absolutely. Go and take your child to the doctors. Do what you need to do. So it's those moments that sometimes people will put together a website or an email response. And it's so stuffy and it's so cold and formal, and it doesn't really show who they are. So are you showing up as you are along the way? A couple of final ones is, what are you craving to feel? So when I mentioned earlier that dear first name thing, I don't want to feel like I'm just another person. Like, I hate it when people market to me and they're like, so you're a mum, you're going to need this, this and this. And it's like, actually, I don't want to do that. No. Or now you're 40, this is going to be the thing. Or morning. Or now you do this sort of thing. It's like pregnancy wear. When I was pregnant with Oscar, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to get one of those hideous, like, there's a picture of me, I'll share it on my grid at some point, where I'm wearing this wrap dress that is so, like, I just look so uncomfortable. You know when your parents used to dress you and they'd put you in some, like, tights or something, and they were itchy and scratchy and you didn't want to wear them? Like, I'm standing there as a pregnant person, like, who put me in this? So when I'm thinking about how I'm craving to feel, that is coming into my marketing. This is how I'm talking about how I'm sort of setting that intention to communicate with people. So quite a lot of people would say to me, people are craving to feel like them, to feel like they can do something in a way that suits their goals, their circumstances, their life situation, their personality. So when I'm thinking about understanding how they want to feel and putting it into my marketing, I'm going to say out loud the fact that I don't do a one size fits all. That's really important to share. And so even though you might think, well, the people that I talk to are much of a muchness, or they're asking for the same thing, you never want people to feel like they're just being lumped together and it's just another, like, here's what we do then, la 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 la. You can always see that moments, if people I'm trying to give lots of examples, but if people recommend something like, you should have this because of this, and actually I go the other way, like, what do you want? What's going on for you? What would be most useful? And I want to finish there by asking that question, so you can ask your clients, your customers, those people you want to connect with, what would be most useful for them? It's a question I always ask. What are you looking for? Because I always work on the basis, I never want to sell somebody something that they don't want. Why would I? Why would I take the money? Why would I, you've seen people on holiday destinations sometimes where they're like, I hate beaches. Why am I sitting here? I'm not enjoying myself. I can't get comfortable. I want to be out sightseeing. And they're like, it's like they've been forced to do that. You never want your client or your customer to feel like that in that way. I'm going to have a sip of tea. If you've got any questions, let me know, or anything you want me to go back on. His T is almost as big as my head. This series that I'm doing of showing up live for the next 7 days is the Let's Get Visible challenge. So I'm coming from a place of encouraging you and hopefully giving you a big bag of tricks to become more visible, to show up online, to really say who you are, rather than feeling like you have to squeeze yourself into a template that just simply doesn't feel like you. I really struggled with this in the beginning. I mentioned on yesterday's live that when I trained as a coach, I felt like I had to become all coachy and all like, hi guys, and you know what I'm talking about, like the typical online marketer. But having worked this portfolio career, having worked in many different arenas and settings and conversations in different sort of formats, it's always when you're the most human version of yourself. That's what gets you booked again, because you bring that flavor, you bring that energy, you bring that reliability. Yes, of course, people don't necessarily know exactly what they're going to get in terms of the content, but they know the sort of the flavor or what you're going to bring to the table. Sometimes we'll see that on game shows or quiz shows or things like that, the sort of the Friday night things. There will be some people who are booked simply because they do this funny thing, or they're a really great they've always got jokes, or they've always got those sorts of things. Really consider what you've got, and you can just be a lovely human in the process. I think that's ultimately what I want to say. Good morning. Because all of these templates, all of these like, just do these 3 things and this is going to happen. I've done some of those 3 things and it hasn't happened. But if I actually lean into the stuff that I want to do, if I really figure out, like I figured this out when I left drama school. Yes, of course, I had to learn the received pronunciation. We had to do accents. I've got so many accents that I had to use throughout my career. But did I want to do this sort of watered down version of myself where I blended in and I was like everybody else? Probably not. If I could show up with my northern vowels and, not be a lovey in the room, that was going to be really helpful. It was going to be really memorable. And ultimately, people are booking you, hiring you, connecting with you because they want to feel like they're on a team with you. They want to feel connected. They want to feel like they're doing it together with you. So if you just joined, there is a whole shebang going on before. So feel free to go back and watch. I'll be here again tomorrow for day 3 of Let's Get Visible. If you're interested in getting speaking gigs, or you want to improve your communication, if you want to feel like you should see, there's that word, if you're looking for ways to show up in a way that feels much more like you, rather than like, oh, because I'm a blogger, maybe I should do this. Like I always see those ones with fashion bloggers, like, okay, I've bought my autumn coat now, I better stand in front of a multicoloured wall because that's what people want me to do. Like, do it if it feels like you and you want to do it. But if you don't, ditch it. Go and sit on a wall. Go and do whatever you need to do. Right, I'm going to leave it there. DM me any questions if you have them, and I will speak to you very soon. Also, if you want to join Speak Up, it's my program for speakers, and it's a year old this week, so I launched it a year ago. It's great. It takes you through all the steps. Loads of people have done it. You can read all the testimonials. So go over to nikkiraby.com/speak up, and I'll speak to you very soon. Thanks for listening and for watching. Bye.